Hello, I'm Bud McCord. I'm here in Brazil, South America. It's a new day here in Brazil, another opportunity to see, hear, love, and live Jesus Christ, the one who lives in us. We're in John's Gospel. We're beginning in chapter 12. Every single chapter is beautiful, powerful, at moments sad, at great moments of happiness. It sounds like a deeply, deeply true story to me. It always has. And I believe that Jesus Christ is exactly who he says he is. He is the Son of God who dwelt among us. I hope you're well. I hope you're ready to focus on Jesus and to think with Jesus here a little bit more this morning. John chapter 12 begins like this. Then 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus, who had been dead, whom he had raised from the dead, he came to his home. There they made him a supper for Jesus, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of those who sat at the table with him. Then Mary took a pound of very costly oil of spikenard, anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. But one of the disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, who would betray him, said, "Why was this fragrant oil not sold and given to the poor?" This he said not because he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the money box, and he used to take what was put in it. But Jesus said, "Let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but you do not have me here always." One of the things that caught my attention this morning reading this chapter again is the fact that Jesus has people around him like Lazarus, Mary, and Martha, who are not officially called today the apostles or the people who are in a hierarchy of some kind that we think of as the apostles being those 12 that were very special to Jesus, with the exception of Judas Iscariot, who was a traitor, as it says here. It just seems so normal that Jesus is at the table. He's among his friends. He's among his disciples. He's among the people that he came, who received him, that are believing in him. And he is moving forward with the work and the plan of God. And apparently this moment that they were spending together was probably the first moment that they might have been able to have had a moment to really celebrate what Jesus had done for Lazarus. And so they had a dinner for him, a supper for him. It sounds so human, so normal, so beautiful. And so Martha is serving, and all of a sudden Mary anoints the feet of Jesus, and she wipes his feet with her hair. I think it's a picture of not only the care and the concern that that Mary and Lazarus and the connection that they had with Jesus, it also is a moment where they, maybe without even knowing it, they are just so desperately wanting to say thank you to Jesus. How do you thank someone who raised your brother from the dead? How do you thank someone who is telling you that he's going to go away in a while and he's headed for his crucifixion? Such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so Simon, who I think he represents the tendency, Judas Iscariot, he kind of reminds me he is a symbol of people who use religion or use the desire of people to connect with God as a means to gain an advantage financially, a means to be known and honored. And here he is in the middle of this incredible moment. He saw the resurrection of Lazarus. He's seen the miracles, but still he has not believed in Jesus. He is still self-protecting. He is still not become truly a disciple. He isn't concerned about Jesus. He isn't focused on Jesus. He's not really hearing Jesus. But one of the things that Jesus says here after he is there and this is happening, Jesus says, "Let her alone. Let her alone. Don't interfere. Don't interfere with Mary's love for me. Don't interfere. Let her alone. Sometimes I think that we want to get in the way of Jesus and another disciple. Sometimes, maybe as leaders or pastors even, we want to interfere with people who love Jesus and we're always kind of looking for something they're doing wrong to maybe criticize. And we want the attention back on us. And so Judas, he says, what a waste. Wow, talk about saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. So Jesus corrects him and it corrects Judas, and he corrects everybody, says, she has kept this for the day of my burial. In less than a week, Jesus would be being crucified from this time. For the poor you have with you always. That sounds a little harsh, doesn't it? But it's not harsh. I think the way I read it and the way it came to me this morning as I was thinking on this and last night, it's like you will always have opportunity to love the poor. In this world, you'll always have the opportunity to focus on the needs of others that are in crisis. Always. But me, you do not have always. This would be the last moment that this family, Lazarus, Martha, and Mary, would have to honor Jesus, to identify with Jesus. This is one of the few times in the scriptures that Jesus is honored in such a way, that he is truly given a moment where someone can recognize what he has done, who he is. It's probably one of the most beautiful moments in the Gospels. So he says, leave her alone. Leave her alone. You know, there's a lot of people in the world who deeply love Jesus. Millions of them. There are some that say there's over 2 billion Christians in the world or more. And it is a thing that we often do to other people. We try to interfere, get between Jesus and the person that is so thankful for Jesus and so happy that Jesus came into their life. And sometimes religious leaders even can interfere with that. The thing that I came away with this morning is I don't think we should ever get between Jesus and a disciple. I don't think we should ever invade the relationship that is so personal between a disciple. My wife, Pam, we've been married for 50 years. Pam is a disciple of Jesus. And I should never interfere in the relationship that she's having with Jesus. She never interferes in my relationship that I'm having with Jesus. On one level, we're brother and sister in Christ, Pam and I. On another level, we're disciples. But there is an intimacy between each disciple and Jesus that is very, very precious, very, very private. And it involves a kind of connection. Imagine she's using her hair to wipe his feet. I'm sure in that culture that was shocking. But maybe it was a way that she was just saying, I am so thankful for what you've done for me, for my brother, for my sister. And I know that you are the Messiah. And I know that you are talking about going away. I've heard of all of that. But I just want you to know how much I love you. She also is an example to me that I need this kind of intimacy with Jesus on a personal level. I'm sure she wasn't trying to show off, or she wasn't trying to call attention to herself. I think she just was overwhelmed with the conviction that she had that Jesus is the Son of God and is the Messiah. Let her alone. Let her alone. Let you alone. Let me alone. Let me be alone with Jesus. Do you have the habit of being alone with Jesus? Do you have the habit of getting to the place where you really want to honor him? You really want to show your love? You'll always have time every day of your life to love the poor, let's say. We're gonna be surrounded by people every day that have greater needs than we do, and people that we can manifest the love of Jesus to. But I think we should make it a habit to get up every morning and take at least a few minutes that it's just me and Jesus. It's just you and Jesus. Try that for a period of time. Try that every day. When first thing you do is, I have the habit of putting my hand over my heart and saying, Jesus, you're welcome here. And in that little simple gesture, it's almost like I'm saying, I'm alone with Jesus. And who am I to have time alone with Jesus? Who am I to be able to be the one that is maybe saying something about Jesus that will echo into eternity at some point? It just really caught me this morning that I've got plenty of time now to go out here in the world, here in Brazil, and there's no shortage of poor people where I am. There's no shortage of hurting people where I live in my condominium complex here with the other families. There's no shortage of accidents on the highway out here that just outside of my home. There's no shortage of people that are crying. But let me start my day alone with Jesus. You don't have to make this a huge ritual, but make time to be alone with Jesus, and he will recognize that. And I think then you get on with doing what he has taught you to do and that he wants you to do. Have a great day. I just really caught that phrase this morning. Let her alone. Let her live her moment with Jesus. Life is hard. Let her alone. And he just says the poor will always be there. And he's saying there's always people you're going to need to love around you. No shortage of them. But start everything with Jesus. Well, have a great day. I hope wherever you're at, you'll take some time to just be alone with Jesus. God bless you.